Aftershocks of a nightmare. This was the scene near the Detroit airport where a Northwest Airlines jet crashed moments after takeoff last night, killing at least 154 people.
There's this, you wouldn't believe it. It was just totally destroyed.
Good evening, Dan Rather with the CBS Evening News. It is the nation's second deadliest air crash ever, and today federal investigators joined police, firefighters, and rescue workers inspecting the twisted rubble. The wreckage is in a charred landscape at Chaplin called utter devastation, beyond words. Among the questions in this catastrophe, could an engine problem have caused it, and how did a 4-year-old girl survive the crash? Our coverage begins with Richard Roth.
The highway bordering Detroit's airport stayed closed today, surrounded by the scorched killing field where crash investigators began the job of determining what went wrong and why. Northwest Flight 255 last night, bound for Phoenix in Southern California, was barely airborne when eyewitnesses said it banked and rolled, smashing to a road north of the airport in a fiery explosion.
Everything was on fire, the trees, the grass, cars. You could see parts of everything just laying all over. It was terrible.
It blew up. It just blew apart, and there was just a great big wall of flame going down across the field over there.
The death toll was huge, more than 150 passengers and crew from the plane and 2 more people on the ground, motorists killed by the impact or the inferno. A neighborhood man who knew his friend was on the road saw the fireball and feared the worst.
I guess she just made the light at Wick and Middlebelt, and the explosion pushed her car, and she felt the flames. She thought her car was on fire, and she saw debris falling all around her. So all she did was floor it, and if she would have got caught at the red light, she would have been dead.
An airport car rental building was hit first by the twin-engine jet. By every account, within seconds of takeoff, the flight had appeared headed for disaster. Some eyewitnesses said they saw fire at the tail of the plane. Then it slammed beneath a railroad overpass and, as one man put it, crumbled like a sheet of paper, debris scattering more than half a mile. The wreckage was spread so far that authorities had some difficulty keeping the entire crash site intact for investigators. Some of the debris was carried away before the area was closed. Authorities recovered some of it and arrested at least 6 people on charges of looting bodies at the crash scene. Equipment designed to record cockpit voices and flight data has been retrieved from the wreckage to be analyzed by the National Transportation Safety Board.
It would not do any of us any good at this point to make any assumptions about what may or may not be involved in this accident.
Privately, though, authorities are discounting speculation about either a bomb or union sabotage. One report said the pilot radioed an urgent distress call an instant before impact. But the accident investigation, like the mourning for the victims, is only beginning. Richard Roth, CBS News, Romulus, Michigan.
She came early to Detroit's airport this morning, hoping for a miracle. Sharmila Biswas's new husband was on board Flight 255.
They told me there are no survivors, so I don't know. There's not much hope left.
Almost all the victims are headed to Phoenix. Today, many of their friends and relatives are making flights back to Detroit to begin the painful task of identifying the bodies still being placed in makeshift morgues at the airport. Last night, Phoenix lost one of its young athletes.
Tip up by Vanos.
Pro basketball player Nick Vanos, a 7'2" center, who this year was expected to break into the starting lineup.
I used to go to his basketball games. I'm so proud of him. He was the greatest brother.
He was just great. We will miss him.
A 4-year-old girl, badly burned, was pulled from the wreckage, still alive but in critical condition. Authorities don't know if she was on the plane or on the ground when the crash occurred. There have been few expressions of relief here, mostly from people who missed the plane.
You're glad for me? Well, I'm glad for me too.
Today, Detroit's airport was back to normal, jam-packed with executives on business trips and kids on vacation. Their travel slowed but not stalled by the memory of Flight 255.
It's always that one time that you could be on the plane and you could die with all those other people that died last night.
I'm always worried when I fly, but I fly anyway.
Almost always, the fear is uncalled for. This time, it was not.
So this weekend, I guess, it'll be finally good luck.
Gary Reeves, CBS News, Detroit.
Late today, CBS News was told that Tony Seashon of Philadelphia believes the 4-year-old girl who was critically injured in the Northwest crash is his granddaughter. Tony Seashon reportedly is on his way now to Detroit. He said the girl was traveling with his son and his daughter-in-law. Pratt & Whitney is the manufacturer of the engines which powered the Northwest jetliner. Pratt & Whitney today declined to speculate on what may have caused the crash, but the troubled past of some of their engines is one reason federal officials now are taking a hard look at them. Peter Van Sant has that part of the story.
NTSB investigators at the accident scene are zeroing in on remnants of the DC-9's left engine after reports from some eyewitnesses who say it exploded moments before the crash.
The rear of the plane was on fire. The engine tail of some sort, it was on fire.
When an engine comes unglued in flight, the high energy that's contained in the rotating equipment is liable to go through fuel lines, is liable to do other things which can produce a fire in flight.
CBS News has been told that the Pratt & Whitney JT-8D engines used on the Northwest jet have a recent history of breakdowns in flight and have raised the concern of 2 federal agencies. In February, the FAA sent an airworthiness directive to all airlines using the JT-8D engines, warning that unless certain parts were replaced, problems could develop, quote, which could result in the loss of engine power. Then in April, following more problems with the engines, the NTSB urged new inspections and replacement of more troublesome parts, saying the potential for an uncontained engine failure and possible airplane damage